right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Dr. Sean, the physical therapy application coach, here with my friend and awesome applicant, Taylor. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. So we're the weekend before Memorial Day, and right before we got on to chat, you were telling me that you were at the clinic today at 6:45 on a Saturday.
Yes. So usually lately we've been doing Monday through Saturday. During the week we start like at 6 a.m. and then just work only to maybe like 12 p.m. So it's really just like a morning thing. And then we're done by like 12 or sometimes 1:30. So it just depends how many patients we have. But yeah, that's usually the daily life.
Gotcha. So is that like the total hours of the clinic, or that's just your hours?
That's the total hours. So like we have two locations. So one down in Santa Monica and then one in Manhattan Beach. And so the one in Santa Monica, we start around 6, we end at like 11. And then the one in Manhattan Beach, we also start at 6 and then we end at like 1:30.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I bet you like that though, because then you have the rest of your day to do whatever else you need to, right?
Sure. It makes you a super early morning person for sure.
Were you a morning person before this job, or did the job make you a morning person?
I was a morning person, but
Yeah.
then I I know I've never had to really get up at 4:30 though. So we get up at 4:30, you have to be there by 5:30 because you have to set everything up and stuff. So yeah, it was an adjustment at first, but
Yeah.
it's easy.
Good habit for you though. So I remember when I was a kid, my dad was always up like super early, and I always was like, what is wrong with him?
Mhm.
Right. And then finally realized as I've gotten older and I have my own kids, and like it's like the only time you get like peace and quiet to do stuff, right? Because
Mhm.
as soon as other people start waking up, you start getting emails, you start getting texts, you start having to, interacting with other people, right? And then but that those precious hour or 2 hours in the morning when you can knock out the things that you need to get done, can make all the difference. So keep that good early morning habit up, and you'll do great in PT school. Do
Thank
great in PT school. So we're here for you. Well, besides to talk about your cool work schedule, um, we're here to celebrate you and your pre-PT experience and the journey that you've been on. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and tell people who may be watching this video just a little bit about your background and your experience as a pre-PT leading up to when you actually started to apply through PTCast.
Yeah, so I kind of got into wanting to be a physical therapist because I grew up playing sports for like a very long time, and I guess you could say I was injured a lot. And so at the clinic I was at, the athletic trainer, I guess you could say, didn't really do too much of a job. So I kind of took it upon myself to start wrapping like my ankles, and I helped my brother with his injuries too. And I was like, I can do this. This is pretty nice, you know? And I took a sports medicine class in middle school as well. So like once I got through high school, then I went on to college. I was okay, I want to major in kinesiology and stuff. um, so what I did is I joined the pre-PT club at my first college, Cal Poly Pomona. It was the first PT club they've ever had. So it was new to us and new to the school as well. But it was also good to like not only figure out what other people want to do along the way, but get different opinions as well, because a lot of us did end up going to PT school, which is really nice. And then yeah, I ended up transferring to Dominguez and going through the application process with you guys. And yeah, everything just pretty much fell in place. And it went by so fast. I have to say, it went by really fast.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how like as soon as you kind of set your sights on it, it's there before you know it. So,
Mhm.
and I think to your credit, that's because you did what you were supposed to along the way, and you sounds like you got hooked up with a community early, and having a pre-PT club makes all the difference. I think the events are good, but I feel like it's just the fact that you always have it on the front of your mind that
Yeah.
you like, I need to be getting ready for my application, right? So I love pre-PT clubs, but for me, I feel like their biggest benefit is just like accountability. You're talking to people and like hearing what they're doing and trying to help yourself to be the best applicant you can be,
Right.
which is that's the whole point, right? That's why I have a pre-PT club, is get you into PT school. So you mentioned that you've got this history of injuries, you've got other things that led you into the field, And it was kind of just this natural fit, right? You kind of had this, sounds like you had a little bit of a proclivity to just help people and figure out things that you can do to rehab them. But let's talk about what was challenging about the application process.
I would say initially I was really nervous because when I was applying, it was still during the COVID time where a lot of clinics were taking people. So I didn't really start my hours until that April. So like a couple of months before the application even opened up. So I was kind of freaked out, like, oh my God, like, are they gonna take me? And a lot of the schools waived the clinical hours that you needed, but I still wanted to get the experience just to see what it's like and how things operate in a clinical setting. So I would say that was definitely the biggest challenge, trying to find hours and stuff and get those in. And then with class being online, it was just everything was just felt different. But for the most
Yeah,
part, I did try to start the application early so that I wouldn't be stressed out. So just do it in sections.
awesome. Awesome advice. Get started early.
Mhm.
So, and despite all your preparation, despite everything you did to be on track, you can't control everything, right? There's only so much you can control. And obviously this, like, the COVID years of the application cycle are pretty unique in that sense, because there was a lot you couldn't control. Um, but what did you learn as a person from having to adapt to that change in circumstances?
Mm, good question. I felt like it kind of made me look at things a different way, like how I needed to move better, like just become more hardworking. Because I know things were difficult at the time, but I was like, okay, I can, if I really put my mind to it, I could do this. Because I believe when I started applying, I was at 3 clinics at the same time, trying
Wow.
to get all my hours in. And there was a physical therapy student already there. He told me, oh, you don't even need all those hours, just relax and stuff. So I think it's a perception where I was like, okay, I want to work hard and really get it done. And just try to be as successful as I can. So it was just a period of where I wanted to keep busy, even though a lot of stuff was shut down. So yeah.
Right. So do what you can,
Mhm.
basically. Right. Okay. That's awesome. I agree with that. And I think that was one of the main messages I gave to applicants during this period was like, ask a lot of questions about what needs to be done or what can be accommodated, and then go to work and get done what you can and don't worry about the rest. Right. Because, and I say this to not like undermine PT schools, but
Mhm.
they need you just as much as you need them, right?
Right.
Like they need students so they can have tuition, so they can keep everybody on payroll, right? Like that's just the way it goes.
True.
And so they're going to make accommodations, and things worked out. And there were applicants, that applied like during the 2020 cycle,
Mhm.
like when COVID was in full swing. Man, I'll tell you what, there were some applicants that were like, this is my only shot, right? And so it opened doors for people. If you were willing to persevere through the difficulties and the challenges, there's opportunities that come.
Mhm.
So I think that's fantastic that you were diligent, you were dedicated, you worked hard, and you wanted to learn in the clinic. It wasn't like you didn't want to just check a box to go get your hours, but it was like, you know what, I want to actually know for sure this is what I want to do. And sounds like you found your match, right? And things worked out for you. That's great. So then let's talk about, how did you find out about physical therapy application coach?
Ooh, I found out actually from Cal Poly Pomona when we had originally started the club. We had a couple students who were getting ready to graduate before my year, and so they're just telling us about different types of organizations we could work with to do the application progress and just yeah, so pretty much you guys came up and I was okay, let me see if I reach out to him and sign up for the different interview dates, help me with the essays and the whole application process. And I thought it was definitely a blessing for sure.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we love our little pre-PT networks, and I'll have to reach back out to them and say, hey, if you guys want to, let's do a Zoom call. Let's do another one. Um, so as soon as you found out and you got signed up, we worked on your essays and we did interviews, right?
Mhm.
Um, what difference do you feel like that made in your application?
It made a lot because a huge difference, I would say, because you guys really were honest and I really appreciate it. You guys were honest, like what I needed to work on, what I needed to approve on in the essays. And I think we met more than 3 times for sure for certain things. just to give verification and reread it and really just talk to me about what should I approve on. Oh, I like this aspect that you talked about. So really just being honest and understanding that, okay, these are what the school's looking for, but also continue to be yourself while you're doing your application, you know? So yeah,
Right.
that definitely helpful. Like everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things I really enjoyed about your essay was like, there's a lot of athlete stories, but we used your coaching experience,
Mhm.
right? And we related that to being a successful physical therapist. And yeah, there's a lot of pre-PTs that are involved in athletics and different things, but nobody has your exact situation, your exact experience where you had a team that needed some help and some
Mhm.
TLC and you went and you built them back up, right?
Right.
Um, and I think just being able to share experience, like real life experiences where you've made a positive impact in people's lives, that's what makes the biggest difference. And it's what I enjoy the most about this job. And also Kyle, I think that's what we enjoy is we love hearing people's stories and what they're doing to make the world a better place and how they can do that on a bigger scale as they move into being a PT.
Right.
Um, so let's talk about you get through, you write an awesome essay, you submit your application, and then it's time to wait and hear back from schools. What
Right.
happened?
Let's see. I submitted mine in July. I started hearing back from schools maybe September, October, depending on when they were going to be like accepting people. So I did get some interview dates and stuff like that. And I remember going through the interview process with you. I was really nervous. I was really nervous. But honestly, let's see. I think my first interview was online. That one was really hard. They were asking me a lot of questions. They had three students in the breakout room, and then she would just ask like random questions for the most part. And then there was one where I actually flew out to Arizona to do it. And that one was really nice. Like it was a group of five of us, and then they would have a separate interview on Zoom later on. So yeah, I think you guys really helped me with the interview process because I was really nervous for sure for that one. But yeah, we went through that. And then after the interview, some schools notify you like a whole month later, some
Mhm.
like 2 weeks. So they got back to you pretty fast. Then you find out which ones you get into. And then some of them you didn't really find out until like this month or last month of this year.
Mhm.
So some processes are faster and then some are kind of longer. And so like it's kind of just the anticipation, like, okay, who's gonna reply? I'm checking my email like 5 times a day. So yeah.
I remember those days. It's not fun. And you're just, or as soon as one comes in, it's just like your heart just starts beating a million miles an hour, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think as we work through the interview process, I remember how nervous you were when we
Yeah.
started. Like it's like this isn't even the real thing. It's just fake interview, it's mock interview, right? And you were so scared. And it's just like, hey, Taylor, like you got this, right? You've got this great charismatic personality. You're very friendly, very warm. Like let's show the people what you've done, the hard work you've put in, and match that with your personality, and you'll fit in wherever, right? So what do you feel like with the interview process? How did that give you more confidence?
It gave me more confidence just in general. I just felt more confident about myself that okay, I can really do this, and I have all the aspects that they want in a student and as a physical therapist, you know. So I was like, I think it started with finding the confidence first and then just flowing, not really thinking about it. Just
Right.
when they ask a question, just already just be honest and let it all out there instead of, having to really think about it. Because I think they kind of look at that a lot. If you take a cool minute to think about it, they kind of want you to just answer right off the bat as honest as you can.
Right.
Yeah, definitely say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a big part of the mock interviews is like all the information's floating around in your head, but it's just getting it like get it organized, right?
Right.
And then also give you. I remember there were some things that you're like, can I say that about myself? I'm like, of course,
Yeah.
right? Like just giving you permission to share things that it's totally fine and it's good to share things about who you are as a person and to let them get to know you instead of just being like a robot who's applying school, right?
Mhm.
So that's I really enjoyed watching that transformation. And then we get to the fun part when you reach back out, you're like, hey, I got in, I'm in. Future
Mhm.
doctor of physical therapy, Taylor Folks is coming at you,
Yeah.
right? So where did you get accepted to, and where are we going for PT school?
I got into Samuel Merritt. I got into, let's see, Creighton University, Arizona. I got into Tufts University, Arizona as well. They have one out there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There's two more. I'd have to actually. I'm trying to think. The other two, I can't even remember the name. I'm trying to think, but they were
There's
both
so many.
Arizona. Yeah, they were both. I applied to like, I think I applied to like 10, and so I got into
Okay,
half of them. So
that's awesome.
pretty good. So yeah, I ended up getting to about 3 or 4 schools in Arizona, and then one out here in California. And so the one I did get into that I really, really wanted to go to was Creighton University, where I ended up committing. But I took a risk with that one because when I did my interview, they weren't accredited yet. So I took a really big risk on that, and they were gonna let us know, like, hey, if we do get accredited, then we'll start accepting students. And luckily they got accredited. So here I am, the first PT cohort there. So it's really
That's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about what went into that decision to go to Creighton.
I just felt like I got the chance to actually visit the campus, so that helped. So I got to see the layout of everything, and then being with people who are in my position, and just everybody was really warm. Like it didn't feel like, oh, like, that's my teacher. I have to be really like, straight and stuff like that. No, they were just really warm, honest, and really supportive. I really like that, definitely. And I felt comfortable even in the interviews around other people. Like everything just, it was perfect.
It just flowed, felt
Mhm.
right. Yeah, yeah. And I think sometimes that's kind of like what happens. And when people ask about like, should I go to an on-campus visit? Like, I know it costs money,
Yeah.
but sounds like you agree. It can make all the difference
Mhm.
sometimes when you're actually there and you actually get to interact and feel what the vibe is like on campus, right? And that was a big selling point for me. And even though like I had my spreadsheet and I was looking at everything, and even if there's other stuff that maybe you're like on paper that might look better, sometimes it's just that intangible feeling of like this feels right,
Mhm.
like that intuition. Or if you feel like, if you're religious and you believe that God's pushing you in that direction, like whatever it is that you feel like pushes you, you got to trust that. And I always tell applicants, like, whether it's you feel like, you know what, I don't know this program, but I feel like I should apply there, you should probably do it. Like,
Mhm.
so that's really cool that you took the jump, and now they're accredited. You get to be a part of the first. There's only gonna be one first class,
Right,
right? So
exactly.
that's pretty awesome. And where is it in Arizona?
It
Like, is
is,
it in the Phoenix area?
yeah, it's in downtown Phoenix, not too
Okay,
far from ASU, actually.
nice.
Mhm.
Nice. So you'll be down there next to my old stomping grounds near the NAU Phoenix
Yeah,
campus.
it's
Yeah.
over there.
Cool. Cool. Well, it's Creighton. They were gonna get accredited anyway.
Yeah, I
Come
know
on.
that's
They know what they're doing. They're
yeah.
doing good. Yeah. Okay. Well, Taylor, that is, I mean, what a great story, right? To kind of come full circle and to hear all of your journey, all your hard work is paid off.
Mhm.
You didn't take anything for granted. No, you didn't ask for anybody to give you anything. You went out and you worked hard and you earned it. Um, and now you're on the next stage. You're on to the next chapter. What advice would you give to people who are applying either this cycle or in future cycles, who maybe feel like, I don't know if this is all going to work out?
I would just say stay true to yourself. It's okay if you get overwhelmed. You're gonna get overwhelmed, regardless if you start early, if you wait until the last minute. I do suggest you start early though, but start early, take your time, get your hours, and just make sure that you have people around who can support you through the process, whether it's your classmates or your family or people you work with. Just make sure you find that good support system. And honestly, they tell you only apply to like 5 schools, but just go all out and apply to it as many as you really can that you feel like you have a good comparison with. Because I mean you never really know. So yeah, just you have to just take the leap. That I would definitely say that. Take the leap, and be patient. Be patient and take care of business for sure.
That's awesome. Very good. Very good. And what would you say for people who are like maybe on the fence about using any pre-PT coach or working with physical therapy application coach? Would you say it's worth it? And if so, why?
I would definitely say it's worth it because getting that second opinion from somebody who's a professional, and also if they're in the field that you want to go into, I think you definitely need that. And then also you just have to try it out. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, but always try first just to get your feet, in the water, and see where it could take you because you never know.
Very true. Very true. Awesome. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it. I know your story will resonate with other people who maybe are going through the same stuff that you are in some way, shape, or form. So thank you for sharing your journey, and best of luck with everything in the future. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll, a year or two down the road, we'll kind of circle back with everybody and see how everything's going, see where you're at and where you're going. It's going to be an exciting time, but thank you so much.
No, thank you. I appreciate all your help.